Welcome to the Black Script Storytellers. My name is Kevin Marable, and today our guest is an actor and a model whose presence commands both the screen and the lens. He's appeared in TV series and films such as Brooklyn Blue Sky, Jacqueline and Jilly, American Soul, City on a Hill, Blue Bloods, The Family Business, and BET Plus breakout hit Diarra from Detroit. He recently starred in Tyler Perry's upcoming film Divorce in the Black, or actually current film Divorce in the Black, and he continues to shine as a series regular in Beauty in Black, whether it's in front of the camera or behind as a photographer as well. His dedication to storytelling runs deep. We have with us today Shannon Wallace. Shannon, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for that. That was cool. Cool. Thank you.
You don't get that every day, do you?
I hear that every day, man. That's a nice little reminder. That's cool.
Dope. Well, Shannon, we like to start off every interview with a very simple question, but some might find it a little difficult to answer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
That question is, who is Shannon Wallace?
Oh man, that one. That one. Yeah. That's an incredible question. It's a tough question. I was at a game night a few years ago and that question was being passed around. A lot of interesting answers. You know what? I'm of the philosophy that the answer to that question is always going to change. I think just as beings, we're always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
I think our job and the journey is to find the answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can do the cosmetic thing. This is what I do. This is, but no, I think I'm a man who is trying his hardest to find the answer to that question. I think that's my answer.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And we're always striving to find that answer, throughout life.
Yeah. I think in the end, you're going to have different versions. You're going to have, in your 30s, you may be something, and in your 50s and your 70s. I think before you go, I think it really hits you like, damn, there it was the whole time. And it's always a lot simpler than we think. But
wow.
Yeah, I'm excited to find it.
Wow. I like that, man. That's a deep answer, but it's simple but deep at the same time. And it makes you think.
Yeah, that's life.
Very true. Yeah, very true. That is life. Yeah. Okay. So now you began your career in modeling with major brands such as Nike, Ralph Lauren, so on and so forth. How did that play a part in helping you prepare for acting, or was it completely a different experience for you?
My journey into modeling was very intentional. I had mapped it out. So growing up, I was like, I was like shy. I didn't speak. I was the weird kid in the corner, just standing there. I was weird. My family thought something was wrong with me. So even today, they're shocked with what I do. So I kind of, once I got to college, I kind of broke out of that shell a little bit, and I kind of came into myself. So going back home after college, everyone was shocked about, wow, he has a personality. They had never seen it before. So for me, modeling was my way in. I had always wanted to act, but I had never been in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that was the easiest way to kind of break that ice, find out if I enjoy it, find out, if I do, what parts of it I enjoy. And then I kind of mapped out a plan. I said, I'm going to go from modeling to commercials to soap operas to TV to film.
Wow.
I mapped it out. This is 2008, my senior year in college. And yeah, modeling gave me confidence, but at the same time, it gave me the flexibility to pursue what it was that I really wanted to do. Right, I made a decent living doing it, but it also gave me the flexibility of schedule.
Right.
And all the while, I ended up modeling for 8 years, which wasn't the plan at all. But once I realized how much time had gone by, I was like, wait a minute, this wasn't it. So I called up my agencies. This was 2016. I called up my agencies and was like, thank you, for everything really, but I got to go do this other thing. And
right.
it was acting. So me and modeling have a love-hate, man. eventually I do want to get back into it in a different kind of space, in a different
Okay.
way.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, in the beginning, it's hard times, it's a hard business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely does translate into the industry. The relationships are very similar. Uh,
Absolutely.
the job,
Absolutely.
the performing, the job is similar. It's just no words.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm getting used to now. Even talking to you, as a model, you're seen and not heard. As an
Mhm.
actor, it's not
Right.
the case. You know what I mean? So I'm learning. I'm getting used to it, but I'm here
No,
now.
you're doing an amazing job at it, man. And you're showing improving, and you're actually, as you said earlier, you're evolving into that person, um, and into that place that you see yourself down the line, down the road. You're actively pursuing that in real time.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, you're definitely actively evolving into who Shannon Wallace is
yeah,
as both a model, an actor, a human, an individual.
yeah,
Um, so that's really dope. And just to add on to all of that, modeling definitely does help get you prepared for acting, get you comfortable in front of the camera, get you comfortable with handling direction, posing, knowing what looks to give for the photographer, which also plays into what looks to give as an actor for the director.
yeah.
Um, yeah. In a lot of ways, the two definitely do tie together. So during this process of, you start off in modeling and now you're into acting. Why did you put a pause on the modeling portion of your career? Is it just acting is keeping you busy the entire time?
It wasn't. I quit cold turkey. I didn't have anything.
Mm,
But I'm just like I have a bit of an obsessive personality.
hmm.
So when I do choose something, I really go all in, and I just have to. That's just the way that I'm kind of built. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to juggle both of them.
Got it.
But if I put this thing down, I have enough room. I have another hand to pick this thing back up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just trusted myself. I trusted my work ethic. I trusted my talent, natural abilities. And again, like the financial freedom that modeling had afforded me.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. I got it. I got a little bit of time to kind of go find out what this thing over here is. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
True. True.
yeah. It did.
Um,
It's a
and you
blessing.
can definitely play in both fields if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Um, and the only reason why I asked that question as to why you paused the modeling is because I know of several other actors who juggle both at the same time, and they're pretty active and successful in both. And so I was
yeah,
just wondering, as was there a reason behind why you stopped wanting to do the other? But it definitely makes sense, and you know yourself, you know what you are able to handle or at least maintain for now. But maybe somewhere down the road you might be able to take on both. Um,
yeah. I'm gonna pick it back up. I'm
yeah,
getting that itch now
yeah,
because I there were parts of it that I really did enjoy,
uh-huh,
and I think I've gotten to a point on this side that I'm able to balance now. I'm able to breathe a little bit.
hmm,
I've been at it for a little while. I've had a little bit of success. I can take a step back and breathe. And
hmm.
yeah,
Now you said you have always known that you wanted to be an actor, even early on in your start of modeling. What drew you to that conclusion at such a young age, and especially with if you were an introverted person and kind of to yourself or in your shell, so to speak.
yeah,
um, what made you want to explore acting even though you knew this about yourself at that time?
yeah. It wasn't until my senior year in college that
Mm,
I it became a possibility. There's hindsight is 2020. You kind of in the moment you don't know why. It's just this thing that I have to do. But there were so many signs. Looking back on it, there were so many signs that this would be something I ended up doing. I actually did a eighth grade play, Peter
mm,
Pan, and it was I had auditioned. I got on stage. The first time I've ever done anything in my life. I got on stage and I introduced myself, and they were like, "All right, had to prepare a song." And I had no idea. So she goes, "All right, what song did you choose? I'm like, so I sung Happy Birthday. Like, terrible. I don't even know what I was doing up there. Terrible. I had jumped out of basketball practice to run down the hall to the cafeteria to audition real quick. I sung Happy Birthday. The next day I get to music class and she's like, yeah, you got the play.
Wow.
Now I have to actually do this thing.
Right.
I punked out. I backed out because it was
Oh.
the same day as a basketball game. This is 8th grade. I backed out. So there were always signs. It was so weird.
Mhm.
But I think ultimately what it was I had came out to Vegas summer before my senior year. I was living with a boxer friend of mine who's one of his best friends was Lorenz Tate.
Wow.
And that was the first person I had ever seen be on the screen that I had actually seen in real life. Like you're an
Right.
actual human, you're a man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It was that for me. It was, wow, you're just the guy. We were playing basketball. We were hooping. You're just the guy.
Mhm.
And I'm super competitive. So I think that was the spark in me. I was like, all right, if this guy can do it, I can do it.
Right.
Went back my senior year and I took out every book in the library. The one extra semester I stayed. I took out every book in the library and I just studied it up and just learned as much as I could. And I was like, okay, cool. I think this is the thing. I think
Mm.
this. So I think for me, it's just me being competitive.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And Love Jones growing up was one of my favorite movies. So it was,
Yeah. Oh, it's classic.
you
Yeah.
know, Lorenz was the guy. And I said, wow, you're a man like me.
Right. Yeah. And now he's one of your peers, in the business now. So
Pretty crazy, ain't it?
yeah, that's crazy how life works and how things come full circle.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, um, and there was something I was going to ask you as it pertains to working with Lawrence Tate, or even just being in his presence. But yeah, no, that's amazing, man. That's an interesting story, and that's pretty cool that you actually got that chance. I guess it was your eye opener to see and to say, this is something that I can do. And even though, like you said, you were introverted, oftentimes we want to do maybe what is the opposite of who we are as an individual. That we look at, some of these things as maybe like a weakness or a crutch.
Especially
Um,
when you're a kid, right?
yeah,
When
yeah,
you're a kid and you're seeing people be social, I'm like, how do you do that, right?
mhm,
Like,
right,
what is that thing that you have that I don't?
right,
As an adult, I think it's a little different. I think we get back into our introversions a little bit as an adult, but as
mhm,
a kid, I envied you guys. Like, it's incredible. You can hold a conversation. What is that? Like, you know what I mean? So it was, yeah, I needed to explore, and acting actually helped that.
right.
It helps me to. I always tell people like English isn't my first language. It is,
Oh
but I'm
wow.
just not really good at it.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was about to say it's not your first language. What's your first language?
It is. It is. But with the script in my hand, it's so much
Right.
easier. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But acting helped that. It helped me come out of my shell. Um, it helped me want to come out of my shell.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can pick and choose now. I can go back in, or I can come out and be, cool.
Okay, so that's what I was getting ready to say is, so everything leading up to that point, or maybe even further, completely self-taught, no theater, no coaching, everything was, kind of sort of came to you naturally.
For the most part, yeah, yeah. So I got into an acting program.
Hmm.
Lasted 2 weeks. I dropped out in the second week.
Why?
Um,
Okay, wait. You got to tell me why you dropped out.
I'm, you know, I, and this is again the hindsight 2020 thing. I only in adulthood and I learning myself the way that I learned the way that I learn.
Hmm.
In school I didn't like school, but I was good at it. I didn't like doing homework. My mom will tell you I never did homework, but I would go in on test day. I'd ace the test, so I
Wow.
would get 100 on the test. I would get a 0 for homework score, and I would end up with a 75. And I just went through school that way.
Wow.
Fortunately, tests were weighted a little bit more than homework.
Right.
But you know, but I went through high school. I went through college that way. I'm a self learner. In the beginning of the semester, they give you the textbook.
Hmm.
Everything you need to know is in there. So I
Hmm.
read the book. I didn't really, I don't learn well from others. I took that same approach in acting class, and I was like, this is cool. I love how, and a piece of it was like stage fright and
Hmm.
social anxiety, but
Right.
the principles of it are there. The fundamentals are there. It's
Hmm.
technical, you know.
Hmm.
If I can master that and then just reveal what it is that I've worked on the day, that's the approach that I took, and then learn on set everything else that I need to know. You
Wow.
know, I
Yeah.
think I think if you take acting to at its most basic, I've seen Dakota Fanning give the performance of a lifetime. She was like 9, right? Kids do this thing. Like
True.
we
Right. And they don't
overcome.
really have formal coaching or anything like that.
They
They pick it
don't.
up as they go. Yeah.
It's there's a little bit of alchemy and there's a little bit of make believe,
Right.
but there's a freedom in there that you have to find, and once you unlock that, I call it the part of my language, the fuck it button.
Right.
You go out
Well,
there,
actually, you know what? Will Smith just talked about this. I saw a video where he was actually explaining how one of his coaches got him to let loose in that way by fucking up a take, several times on purpose. And eventually you got to the point where you just like, fuck it. And just, you act it out in your most natural state. And
yeah,
it doesn't feel forced or contrived. It just comes across natural. And then that's,
fact. That's a
yeah,
fact. You
yeah.
take the pressure off of it.
Wow.
It's let's have fun. This thing is supposed to be fun. So I
Right.
took that approach mixed with the technical, right? I am like fundamentally trained in that sense. I'm aware of technique and I
Hmm.
use technique, and I just I'm aware of how to access my body in that way, but I'm not formally studied. I learned from YouTube. There was a guy.
Yeah.
I believe his name was Brian Heller. He used to do these how to act videos on YouTube. It was the first thing I ever looked up when I got out of college. And I was like, Brian Ellis, the guy. Like literally, YouTube taught me, YouTube University.
Right.
But like, and he was right about a lot of things. And then you take a mix of that. I've studied Chubbuck technique. Studied Meisner. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trained in those senses, Stanislavski, and
Right.
all of those
Well,
things.
I mean, at this point, you're pretty much, I wouldn't say fully trained up because you're never fully trained up. You're always evolving. You're always working towards your craft. But you're trained enough. You're landing work. You're actively busy in Hollywood, um, and you have several projects under your belt. So you're definitely in a place to where um, you've got it. You know what I'm saying? So there's no concern there for sure.
Thank you for that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Now, your first acting role came with the BT digital series Brooklyn Blue Sky. Is that correct?
That's a fact.
Okay.
It was
What do you remember most about that experience?
Boy, I was scared as hell.
Uh,
Because I hadn't done anything up until that point. I had done a bunch of commercials,
uh
but I hadn't spoken in a commercial. I hadn't spoken on camera yet. Um, and even I don't even if they ever see this, I'm gonna tell the story. But the audition was in person, and I just couldn't brave up. I couldn't get the energy up. I couldn't the courage rather. I couldn't get it up. So I sent them an email like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm busy with work. I'm not gonna be able to make it. Can I send you guys a tape?" So I
mhm.
worked on it at home in the privacy of my home, and I sent them a tape, and I actually booked it off the tape. Um,
Man.
so on the day, I had never, up until that point, performed in front of anyone before.
But you know what's funny about that is, and it's not. I know that might seem like an embarrassing moment or embarrassing time, but that's really the process of how to do things now, especially since COVID.
Yes,
You submit self tapes,
right.
and you do, and you land jobs actively that way instead of doing it in person. So,
I
so
mean,
in a way, you were doing it. You were ahead of your time, man.
way ahead of my time. 2 years ahead of my time. Any in person audition, I was, oh man, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. I gotta. Oh, can I send you a tape? It was just the easiest way until I was like, until I got that experience and I got my confidence. Then I
uh,
was like, oh yeah, this is the audition is a different thing from being on set. It's a completely different experience. So what
mhm.
I was afraid of in the audition room, when I get to set, it no longer exists.
Right.
And I think it lived somewhere in validation,
Yes.
and approval. Okay, you liked the thing that I did. I can now fill this up and do it more on set, and the stakes be what they are.
Hmm.
But that room, that little room with the camera scared the hell out of me in the beginning. So yeah, I had to tape my way in. So Brooklyn Blue Sky, that was also the first thing that I had done. I had left my agencies in October 2016. That came December 2016.
Mm.
So that for me was all right. Cool. You made this choice. You got to live with it. This is the thing.
Right.
This is how we're
Right.
gonna go about it. This is the thing. And at the time, it was just a web series,
Hmm.
but I needed what I could get. It ended up being good, and BET bought it. Um, but yeah, it was let me get in front of this camera and let's jump in.
Man, man, that's pretty dope. Just to hear how your process and your journey and path has been, into the business, and every step of the way, you push through, even though you're afraid, you're scared, or you may have internal reservations about it. No matter what, you don't let it stop you or hinder you. You find a different way, or you find a way to push through and
Hmm.
achieve that goal regardless.
You make a choice. You make a choice. That's it. You
Right. Yeah.
negotiated with yourself. You said you're gonna do it. You got to do it. To
Right.
me, it's that simple.
Yeah. Now you've also worked across a range of projects, Jacqueline and Jilly, to BET's American Soul. Um, I guess, and you've kind of spoken on this, but if there is anything else, what would you say has been the most challenging role for you so far? I guess up to that point. I mean, we haven't gotten to some of your more current shows.
Yeah, it was American Soul because up until that point, um, I think season one of American Soul, I did 7 episodes.
Yeah.
So I had never, it was my third job. So I had never come back the next day to do it again. I had never been tasked with the responsibility of creating a character and building an arc, right? Like I was going
Right.
in guest spots. I'm coming in one day. I'm gonna do my thing. Y'all ain't gonna see me again.
Hmm.
But now I got to come back tomorrow and
And do it
finish.
over.
And
Yeah.
we filmed American Soul over the course of 4 months, I believe.
Mm.
So it was again. I didn't think I knew what I was doing. Like you guys, you gave me a lot of room here to make this guy.
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't telling them I didn't know what I was doing. I'm gonna figure it out on the job. Um, but it was, man, it was tough. It was very difficult because one, we filmed in Atlanta. I was living in New York, but they thought I was living in Atlanta. So they would call me like the schedule would change. Oh yeah, we're filming tomorrow. I got to get my ass down to Atlanta by tomorrow. So I was hopping on buses. I was hopping on flights.
Wow.
There was a 14-hour bus. I took that about at least 10 times.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that was difficult. But the experience, I came out I was such a better actor after that. All right, not cool. I knocked that off. I knocked the recurring off. I can create a character. I can build an arc. I can build relationships on set. All right, cool. This is dope. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that
Yeah.
that came. That was a year after I made the choice to do it. It
Wow.
was it was validating, man. That I took so much from that show, and I learned so much.
Right. That
Yeah,
was your first experience at a reoccurring role, and building a character, staying in character.
that was
And
my first time on TV. That was the first thing that ever came out on television. That was
okay, so how did that feel when the very first time, you film American Soul, and you guys rap and everything, and then once they make the announcements that it's coming out, it finally hits TV.
yeah.
um like, what was that like, especially for you, and then also especially for like your family and friends around you that may or may not have known that this
Yeah,
is the path that you were going to take.
yeah. Nobody knew. Um,
So that you didn't even tell them during the filming.
uh, my mom knew. My mom, my dad, they knew. But for, I learned a lot I learned a lot as an actor working that job. I learned more as an actor on the
Mm,
release, right? I learned of the responsibilities that you have when you're done doing your part, right? There's
right,
more to do. You
right.
have to, they included me in the marketing campaign for the show, which I didn't think was going to happen. So there were those obligations,
Hmm.
which to me came a little bit unnatural. You know, I was I learned what that part of the business is, the 90-10, right? We're on set for 10% of the time, 90% of the time we're selling the thing that we did and
Right.
promoting the thing that we did. So
Hmm.
that I ain't gonna hold you. It pushed me away from the industry for
Really.
the next year.
Mm.
Yeah, I took the year of 2019 off
Wow.
um, because I wasn't exactly sure that I loved it that much.
Hmm.
You have to include that as part of my job.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if I loved the 10% enough to do the 90%.
Hmm.
Just because I'm the quiet guy, I'm the introvert, I'm to myself. All right, now I'm forced to be.
Yeah.
I don't live just in the TV. I have to
Right.
be something outside of it as well.
Right.
Um,
And you got to actively perform that. You got to actively put on the smile and answer the questions and talk about things that maybe you don't want to talk about and
yeah,
be in this place and you don't feel like being in this place at such
that's
and such
exactly
time.
it. That's exactly it. Yeah, I really that whole year I did some soul searching, man. Because at
Wow.
the same time, it was really cool to show
Hmm.
off this thing that I did, and I got to work with Kelly Price that season. We
Wow.
have a great
Wow.
relationship. It was cool things, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm conflicted. I'm like, I wish I could just do the job and just go back into my cave, you
Yeah.
know.
And that explains why so many actors that have that privilege or have that ability to do so literally just come on the set, do their thing, and then disappear for the next year or two.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But that was such an like so I went to school. I studied sociology, right? So I'm a researcher. That's my thing. So
right.
coming into this business, I had done my research. I had studied the greats. I know their path. I know their philosophies. And at the time, it was I have to maintain this aura of mystery, right? When you
Hmm.
see me, it's going to be on the screen because that's you're going to have to pay to see me on the screen. If you see me every day, you're not going to want to pay for it at the box office, right? That's the Denzel and the Will philosophy. So I
Hmm.
had, but at the same time, social media is changing that definition and it's changing that philosophy. So I had to adapt and say, okay, cool. I can't do it the way that they did it because I don't live in the time that I'm not doing it in the time that they did it in,
Right.
right? And then watching Will pivot into the social age as well. Okay, cool. This is something you have to do.
Yeah.
Again, this is now a choice. It's not negotiable. You do it or you don't. Are you in it or you're not? Right? How much do you love this thing?
Hmm.
Uh, so it took me a year to get there to figure it out, but I did, and I found things about the other things that I do enjoy
Right.
that'll keep me going. You know,
Yeah.
like meeting people and talking to people. I do enjoy that part of it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm taking advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad with the good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's going to be highs and lows. As long as the highs outweigh the lows, man, you're solid.
That's my dad. My dad, like in sports, that was his philosophy. That's the only thing I remember him ever saying. Never get too high, never get too low.
Right.
Like you stay here. You
Hmm.
stay even keel. Never get too high, never get too low.
Yeah. It's a good philosophy, good way to navigate through life and handle situations. Because one extreme or the other, it could definitely put you in a state that it might not be, might not come natural to you. And some people, when they get too extreme, they don't know how to bring themselves back down. And some people, when they get too low, they don't have to bring themselves back up, so
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
stay even
everything in
keeled.
moderation. Everything in moderation. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
That's right.
uh, okay, and so then you took on the role of Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. If you could talk a little bit about how that opportunity came about, how you met Tyler Perry and landed that role,
Yeah,
and what was it like working under his direction?
yeah, that was cool, man. Tyler's cool, man. I was that job had come. It was an audition for another film that he
Okay.
was doing. So I had sent in a tape, and then they were like, "All right, we're gonna fly you guys to LA, and you're gonna audition in person." And we go, and we're all staying at this hotel in Sunset, and got in the night before. Next morning, I go down, and there's so many people there. I'm like, oh my god,
Wow.
there's so many people. I'm seeing people I know. I saw one of my castmates, Joseph Lee Anderson from American Soul. Hadn't seen him since we filmed, so I'm like, oh, what's going on,
Yeah,
Joe?
that's
It was great. But
yeah.
then we're all there to do this thing. So I go in the room, I go in the audition room, and I, to me, I bombed it. I bombed it. It
Mm,
didn't feel right at all. Um, but I walked out of there. I had done it twice. The first time I did it, I was like, nah. I ran it back and it got better. So I walked out and I was like, well, that was cool. I got a trip to LA out of it. It's cool. I'll take my ass back home. I get home the next day and my agent goes, yeah, nah, you're not going to get that one, but Tyler has something else that he think you'd be great for. So they sent the script and it was Divorcing the Black. And I read for the role of Jim, and I read the role of Jim. He didn't make me audition again. This came as an offer, and he said, "If you want it, it's yours."
wow.
So I took it. I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Like, all right, smooth. We can do this." And then I think maybe 2, 3 weeks later, we were all down in Atlanta filming, and Tyler is that is a well-oiled machine.
That's what I keep hearing, man. I keep hearing that.
I had heard about it. I had heard
Yeah.
about it, but you don't know till you're in it. But
Right.
it's a boot camp, and
Mm,
it's basically it's a play with
mm.
6 cameras around you. Uh,
That's a good way to put it. That's really a good way to put it.
it is. You have to live. You live. It's a full body experience, right? We're not in tight. We're catching wides and close ups at the same time. It's a full body experience.
Wow.
It felt great as uh, for an artist. That was very freeing because I got so used to living in the TV space
Uh-huh.
where it's so formulaic and structured. Where we'll start with a wide, we'll do 2 wide shots, then we'll come for our mediums, and then all right, you got maybe 5 close-ups, and then we're out. We're moving on to the next scene. In Tyler world, you get one very long take where if you mess up, all right, we'll fill in. He won't call cut for a while, but you're acting with your full body, and it reminded me a lot of. I had done one Broadway audition in my life. It's for Soldier Story. Kenny Leon was directing it a few years ago,
Hmm.
and this this came at another time where I was going to leave the business. This was like 3 years ago. I'm out of here, man. So, man, a quick story. I had I just wasn't. It was right after COVID, man, and I had done a show called City on the Hill.
Yes. Yeah.
It had come out, but it came out during COVID. We shot it during COVID. Came out. It wasn't really received, and to me, that was my favorite project. So I was like, man,
Yeah.
I have just the worst luck. Like I just got bad luck. I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. So I'm also a photographer. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go grab a full time photography gig. I had interviewed and been offered a job at Gap to shoot. I was about
Wow.
to take it, but the same week, an audition for this stage play national tour came in for A Soldier Story, and I
Hmm.
was like, I've never done a play before. I'm scared to do a play. I have to do a play.
Yeah.
Right. So I auditioned and I sent the tape and they called me back in the room. First in person Broadway audition I've ever done. I was scared as shit, but I did it. And then leaving, I had never felt that way. And I called my mom and she's like, what do you think was the difference? I said, it was a full body performance.
Hmm.
I had to act with my entire body. I'd never done that before. So I didn't end up doing the play. I didn't end up taking the photography gig because the next week, DR from Detroit came.
Oh
And
wow.
agents asked me to audition, and I ended up getting that show, and that took me back into the business.
Right.
So when I get to Tyler and we're filming Divorce in the Black, I got that same feeling that I did in that audition room or leaving that audition room. Like I got my fingertips and my toes are numb and tingling because I had to use them in my performance. And
Mm,
I thought that was really cool. So I absolutely love that about working at TPS. And
mm,
that's a lot of the reason why I went back and did Beauty in Black a few months, almost less than a year after. I was like, I got to
yeah.
get that again. Whatever that is, I got to find that and I need to investigate.
Yeah. I love how you just actively run into the fire, man. Like, you know, the house is burning in your mind, you
Yeah,
still run into the fire.
yeah, that's something. I got to go get it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't let that stop you. That is admirable. And you know, there's a lot of people who they have aspirations, and it could be the biggest of things or the smallest of things, but that one thing that stops them dead in their tracks, and they never pursue it.
yeah.
But the fact that you know ah, you don't let that stop you. Um,
It's the fuck it
Says
button.
something. Yeah, the fucking button, man. It
Yeah,
says something. It definitely says something about you and your character for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I really, I try to see it any other way, and I can't.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
do it scared. Somebody had said that, and it just
Yes,
stuck with me. Do
yeah.
it scared. I'm always fucking terrified. I'll tell you. I'm always scared, but I do it anyway. Is
All right, so let's sidestep for just a quick second because you mentioned that you're a photographer. I'm also a photographer on the side.
that
Um,
right?
yes, yes, sir. I've been shooting for a little more than 13 years.
Me
And
too. Me as
okay,
well.
Uh,
Yeah,
uh, if you don't mind, you know, telling the world what camera system did you start with, or what camera system do you use?
yeah. I started with a Canon T3i.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
me too. I had the same
You
camera.
do?
No lie, the exact same camera. That was my starter camera. I had a
Yeah,
Canon T3i, and then
yeah,
from there I moved to the 6D, and then from the 6D to the 5D Mark III, which
yeah.
I currently still have. And
Canon
I'm,
the whole time.
yeah, Canon the whole time, man.
I went to Sony for a little bit.
Okay.
You know, I betrayed. I went over there. The colors were so different. I liked it, and the mirrorless systems at the time. I was like, all right, let me. This is cool.
Yeah.
But I ended up. I'm back at Canon now. I'm
Okay.
my
What
main
camera do you have right now?
dude. My main every day is a 5D Mark II.
Really? So you're
Yeah,
still using the mirrored system? Okay.
yeah. But
Is it
if for
something
commercial,
about the shutter? Is that
if
what
I
is
can
it?
feel it. I can
Yeah.
feel it. Yeah, I'm an analog guy, and it just
Yeah.
But for commercial gigs, that we're using R5 now. You know,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm versed. But for my everyday, my tests and my personal projects, I'm still on the Mark II, man.
Yeah. No,
I'm happy.
I still actively use the Mark III, even though I feel like it's time for me to upgrade.
Yeah,
I haven't used any mirrorless systems yet, and I'm teetering on should I stay with Canon or should I switch? And if I do switch, what camera system
you
should I
gotta
go
go.
to? So
Yeah,
yeah,
Sony's got some things over there, man.
I know, I know.
Sony's got some things.
Yeah, it's hard to switch over, man. It's hard. You got to start all over from scratch. Buy all new lenses. You know.
Dude, the whole
Yeah.
kit gotta go. The whole
Yeah.
kit, even your post process changes.
Yes.
You know, like
Yeah.
yeah, when with the color shifts and color profiles, everything changes. So
That's dope. Okay. One more photography question. So, being that you're in the business, you have all of these actor friends or industry friends around you. Is it a goal or an aspiration to at some point shoot them, kind of like what they do for like Vanity Fair and um so, the Oscars and whatnot, and they
yeah,
build these elaborate sets and then do these these elaborate portraits?
yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. Okay,
That's
that's
what I
dope,
do.
man.
So yeah. So right now I started in the commercial in the fashion space.
Uh-huh.
Then I pivoted to more commercial fashion. And then I got into portraiture.
Mm,
Like
I love that.
2020, I got into portraiture. So that's the space that I'm living in now. I do a lot of press kits and press photos. Sometimes when they'll let me do an editorial, I'll do something cool. Um,
That's
But
dope,
yeah,
man.
it's all friends, man. It's
Yeah,
all coworkers, right? As an actor, I shot my coworker Taylor from Beauty and Black like 2 weeks ago. She came out here to LA. We shot.
really.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
man.
yeah. That's,
Is,
that's a fun
you
part.
already have like a full fledged portfolio and everything. You have a website for
Yeah,
your photography
yeah,
work.
yeah. That was the gig. When people always ask, like I consider that my job.
Okay,
Acting is the fun thing, and
right.
I don't do it often enough. Every day I can go pick up my camera. That's the job. That's my thing. You know. Yeah, and people are always surprised, but like, yeah, I love acting to death. I'll never do anything else. Like, but photography is the creative outlet I can control.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, up until now, I'm like, I'm getting control in the acting space
Mm,
uh, by producing. I'm going to direct soon, but I think photography is it's my outlet. Whatever I have on that day, however I'm feeling, I can go shoot a building. I live downtown. I can go
mm,
shoot a building and get that out. You know, I'm
man.
in love with that thing. I need that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Okay. Since we're here, and you just mentioned that you said that you were going to be directing soon. Do you already have a project in place that you're going to be
Yeah.
directing?
Yeah. I'm in pre-production right now. I want to get this. Looking at a mid-July shoot date. I wrote a short film about 6 weeks ago. I wrote a short, and I had never written before, so it was rough. But I got a writing coach, and she's working it out. So
Okay. Okay.
we got it to a shooting script. But I'm producing, I'm directed, and I'm going to be in it as well.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, yeah.
So
That's
that's going to be the next phase of your career is so from model to actor to writer, director,
I ain't
producer.
writing no more. I ain't writing no more. That's
Oh,
it.
you're not writing no more.
I just had this idea, and I couldn't. Again, English is my it's not my first language. I couldn't relay it to a writer enough, so I had to put it on
Okay.
paper myself.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I've been producing. I've got 2 features under my belt. This will be my first short, but I had never directed before, so I wanna see what that's like. I think
Mhm.
as a photographer, that's just we're already tapped in. I see the world in that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me capture it on film in a motion picture. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm excited for that. So that's really got all my attention. It's been the last 2 weeks have been kind of pretty crazy, adding building a team around this thing, and but it's actually really cool.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
dope.
it's
That's
dope.
dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna have fun with it.
Yeah. Now, being on, all of the sets that you've been on, and all of the direction that you've taken from those directors, I'm sure you were actively learning in real time, and then you're going to relay all of that into your projects
Yes,
moving
sir.
forward. Hmm.
100%. I shadowed Tyler. He didn't know it, but I shadowed Tyler on the 2 projects we did. I took everything he did. I studied him, and then I did a show called City on a Hill a few years back, and that was my first time actually wanting to sit in the director chair. Um, so I shadowed a couple of directors that we had on that project as well. Um, so yeah, I've been itching and nervous,
Yeah,
but again, you gotta do the thing.
you got to run into that fire, man.
You don't know until you know. You
Right.
know, you don't
Yeah.
know until you know. So I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out. I got about 6 weeks until we film.
And I'm sure you're probably adapting some of Tyler Perry's style of the way he shoots things and how everything is structured.
I called him last week for advice, um, and he goes, he's he's like he advised me to invest in it myself because I'm going to learn the value of a dollar on a set that way.
Mm,
He's
mm,
like he hates waste, any kind of waste. Time is money. Any kind of waste, he's just against it. So he's like, if you put your own money up, you're going to be counting the dollars as the minutes go by on that set, and you're going to know what's important, and you'll build your career and your philosophy on directing that way. So I'm definitely taking that with me.
mhm.
100% taking that with me. I'm gonna slow down a little bit. Tyler works really fast. I'm slowing down, but but I'm also gonna be aware of where we can be more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, out of all the roles that you've taken on, all the characters that you, been or created and been a part of, what role taught you the most about yourself, either personally or professionally?
um, I grew the most from doing City on a Hill. Um, yeah, I'll tell you this. So my my brother, I had a little brother. He got killed in 2017. He was shot.
I'm sorry about that.
Nah, yeah, but that show, I wasn't gonna do it. I had told myself after that, and this is at the time it was on the internet. I had told a whole bunch of publications, I ain't never playing a gangbanger. Man, I lost my brother to gun violence, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I take the job as City on the Hill. I didn't take it, but I read it and I said, oh, this is interesting. So I go through the audition process and then they sent me the scripts and I said, I have to do this because this is the first time that I had seen on the script, on the page, them describing the why, right? Why
Mm.
is he here? Why does he do these things? Not because he wants to, it's because he has to.
Right.
And we, on that show, we did the street stuff, but then we went home with him at the end of the night. And to me, that was the difference because he was two different people. He was the guy on the street, the gangbanger, but
Hmm.
then when he came home, he was the son and bigger
Right.
brother, the
Yeah.
older brother. Yeah. Right? So I told that story. So the first scene, my first scene of the first episode, my first appearance on the show, is I had a younger brother character. He got into some trouble with some guys. They cornered him on the block. Big bro pulls up just in time and saves him. To me, I needed to perform that because I wasn't able to do that for my little brother. I
Mm.
wasn't able to be there. I couldn't stop it. So it was extremely cathartic for me as the human, and I got to live that experience out. And I became, because I shit got dark, brother. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but me being able to get that out and get there in time and stop that from happening saved my life.
Mm.
Saved my life. I would have gotten in some trouble, but
Really.
me being able to do that, and that's why I love this fucking job
Hmm.
for that reason. But I was able to get there in time. You know,
Yeah.
that is that will always be that grew me the most as an artist. That grew me the most as a human. Um, that's the one. That was the shift for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's an amazing story for one, and how it also ties into, you know, your career professionally, but how it also helped you personally. Uh, I wasn't expecting, that in depth of a story, or, something that hits home like that.
yeah.
Wow.
Never. Nobody would ever expect that. And I
Yeah.
don't tell it often. I don't tell it often because for a long time I needed to keep that to myself. But
Mhm.
I've been telling some folks the last few years, like that was man, that job did it for me.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it can definitely be very therapeutic, based on, what characters you're portraying and what roles you're taking on.
Yeah.
You never know what people are going through. And if it gives you an outlet to um, express some of that pain, some of the sadness, grief, and get it out of your system, through that character.
Facts.
Yeah, that's
Because
that's life
your mind
changing.
knows. Your mind knows, but your body experiences it as if it's happening to you in real time,
Yeah.
right? Molecularly. My body went through those practices, that exercise that happened to
Hmm.
me in that moment. You
Hmm.
know, it was just that was cool. I needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's the arts, man. The arts. It's powerful.
It's also amazing how, certain questions, like even just my question to you, the timing of it, I wouldn't have expected that
Yeah.
that kind of answer. And I'm sure on the flip side, from your perspective, you probably weren't expecting to tell that story.
No, no. I not at But that is literally the only answer I have to that question. Thank
Wow.
you for asking that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Absolutely, man. Um, so like you were both in Divorce in the Black as well as Beauty in Black. Um, I guess before I even get to this question, what was your experience on Beauty in Black, and how are people receiving you being on the show and your character?
Yeah, Beauty in Black is that show is an anomaly. Um, that show, I had never been on anything that had been that well received. Like a lot of my work has been under the radar. Like I was saying with COVID and the strikes and all these things, like when my stuff comes out, people don't just see it or hear about it for some reason. But with Beauty in Black, boy, they jumped on that thing, and
It's
that
a
was
worldwide. It's a worldwide phenomenon, man. Like,
global number one, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible. What the experience? So, Divorce in the Black, we filmed in 6 days.
Hmm.
Beauty in Black it was originally to be a 2 week shoot schedule, but we had some delays. It ended up taking 6 weeks.
Okay.
So for me, I was like, oh yeah, we slowing down. Yeah, like we can really get into it now. We don't have to leave. I'm not leaving nothing on the table. Um, but in that in the show and in Calvin and what Calvin was and what he stood for, I I didn't know what to expect coming out of it. I had no idea how it would be received. Um, I was a little bit, I was a little cautious going in,
Hmm.
um, because I'm like a researcher. I'm like, okay, cool. Don't do that thing. Do this next. Do this. Don't do that. Right. I had plotted this thing out in my head, and I was nervous because I mean, Calvin's the stereotype. He's the security, and he's sleeping with his boss. Right. I was like, but it was so much more than that. It became so much more than that, and I think like fanfare had a lot to do with it,
Right.
um, for me. So yeah, I was nervous. I was nervous about the reception, but once I saw the reception, I was like, oh, this is that thing. This is
Yeah.
that Tyler effect.
Yeah.
It's
And you're really seeing the your level of star level up. You know, more and more people recognizing you
yeah.
in public. You know,
I went.
we recently had Rico Ross on,
Uh,
and he talked about his experience as
they
playing
love
Horace.
Horace. They love Horace.
They-
Oh, he got him. He got. Yeah, Rico got them all now.
yeah, but it's just a worldwide. You guys have a lot of fans across the world.
Yeah, it's a global thing. I was on TikTok live last week on Friday, and I just pop on live every once in a while, and I'll bring someone on and just talk to them, just
Okay.
just random people. This girl was in Germany and knew who I was. I was learning German on TikTok because of Beauty in Black last week. Like, what is happening? It's incredible, man. The gym in my building. This girl she's from Rwanda, and she kept recognizing me from the show, and I'm like,
Wow.
man, that's never happened to me before.
Yeah.
That's really cool to me.
Yeah. It's gonna keep happening now, man. The
We're in
more
and
people see, yeah.
now. We're in and now. I tell Taylor plays Kimmy in in Beauty in Black. She played
Mhm.
my wife Rona in Divorce in the Black.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
so we've been I think there's 6 of us that did both of them. But Taylor and I are really close, and we talk about it all the time. We're like, we in it now, girl. We in it.
That's
It's
it.
Yeah, yeah. We locked in. We locked in.
You may or may not be able to discuss, what's next for you. Are there any more Tyler Perry projects coming your way?
There will be. Yeah,
Okay.
there will be. There will be. I'm gonna stop right there. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Um, yeah. Another interesting thing, you said Divorce in Black. You guys shot that in 6 days, um, and I think a lot of people can't grasp how fast Tyler Perry writes and shoots and directs. And I recently read that his upcoming film Straw was shot in 4 days. Taraji said it only took 4 days to shoot that, and
Yeah.
um, they were able to knock that out the park. And in my mind, and I'm sure in everybody's mind, we're like, how do you do that in 4 days, and produce something to that magnitude?
Yeah.
Um, but
He's breaking
you
his own
explained it.
records. He's breaking his own records without trying. Like
Yeah.
nobody else is trying to break these records but him. Like Tyler, but so Divorce in the Black was originally a 9-day schedule. We finished it 3 days early. How do
Okay.
you knock 3 days off of an already short schedule?
Right. And that's 3 extra days of budget that you.
That
Right.
just right back into the next project.
Yeah.
It's no, it's incredible. It's
Right.
incredible. It's a machine. It's a
Right.
machine. Everybody that is on that set is the best at what they do, and they're
Wow.
all performing to their absolute best. It is a machine. You go in there, you do the thing, and you're part of the machine, right?
Hmm.
It's not. People think it's a plug and play situation, and it's not. You
Yeah.
come in and you bring your thing. You add your thing to it.
Hmm.
It's not anybody can come in and do what you do on that day. So it's your responsibility to come in there prepared and and ready and open because you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. It's an experience. It's an experience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm just curious to see behind the scenes footage of this at work, like how it all orchestrates, how it
Yeah.
all works.
Yeah.
That would be the next thing that I would love to see, Tyler Perry, showcase.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he probably won't. He wants to keep certain things under wraps. You let
Uh,
people, keep people guessing.
yeah. Shoot. He'll probably drop a documentary on it. He's gonna find a way to monetize that.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be on Netflix or something. How it was done. But it's planning. It's planning.
Mhm.
He has a lot of superstars in that studio, man. A lot of all stars.
Yeah.
So when he gets there, everything is done. He gets
All the
there.
time. He's always bringing on, all-star cast, star-studded cast,
Yeah,
top tier talent,
yeah,
and knocking out these projects that other people wouldn't be able to do in such a short period of time.
yeah. His ability to from conception to release,
Hmm.
it's it's nuts. I think when we filmed Divorce in the Black, I think we filmed it in I want to say April or May. When we got the first draft, the script drafts are dated. It was dated March. So did he just write this? Like, did he just write this 6 weeks
That's what
ago?
he goes away on these little retreats,
Yeah,
writes for like a week, comes from what I've read, comes back with like 3 or 4 new movies or a whole new series
yeah,
in less than a week, and
yes.
like and then he lands a deal for all of those projects, and you're like,
Find
how?
a place
How
for
does
it.
he do that?
Yep, yep. I think Coogler did that with Sinners. I think it was a 9 month from script to first day of production, which is
Which is,
fast.
yeah, it's insane. It's
That's
insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Waste management,
Right.
efficiency. I'm taking that. I'm taking
Yeah.
that.
And,
Yeah,
and it's dope that it's coming from us, that we're finding new ways, new and innovative ways to, shape and mold how the industry works moving forward, and how
we
these
always
projects
do.
get off the ground moving forward.
We always do. We are the source.
Yeah.
We are the source. We are the inspiration. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we do.
All right. So you have the modeling, you have the acting, you have photography. You're getting into directing, and producing. What's next for you that you can speak about?
Directly next is directing, but my goal is to. I've only done one film. I've only made one movie. My career has been in television up until this far. I want to get into the film space. I want
Hmm.
to see what that's like. The difference for me is in the work because on TV we get our arc and we get our story weekly.
Yeah.
Every week you have a new script. Okay, this is what the character's doing this week. So in telling that story, we have to be broad enough to leave room for that update, basically.
Hmm.
In a film, I get the script in the beginning, and I know the beginning, middle, and the end. So I can carve out a story and an arc. Knowing where I end up and knowing where I start, I can fill in those blanks in the middle. The actor in me wants to see what that's like. I want to see what I can do under having that information. Um, so I want to make movies. I'm like super athletic, so I want to do action stuff. I'm a
Okay.
boxer. I was a boxer.
Okay.
Let me chill. I'm getting a little old. I was a boxer, but but I want to do action stuff, man. I always wanted to do a sports movie. Um, I want to make movies. Like TV's
Hmm.
great, and I love it for what it has afforded me up until this point. But I want to see what that film life is like, just artistically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my goal for this year is to shoot a film.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you're not even looking far, far, far in the future. You said this year.
No, 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 no. We can't. Not too far. Not too far. We don't know.
Okay.
We don't know.
All right.
Who knows? But yeah, I live it. This is a problem I have in my life is I don't look too far ahead. So
No,
people,
I think that's good though. That because a lot of times we'll push things off if we put it too far in the future.
yeah, yeah, that's real, right? Like that's exactly it.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're always like even my mom. They're just like you're never planning for the future.
Yeah.
I I can't. Like
Right.
yeah,
Everything is now. Everything is now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Has to be. Yeah, man.
No, that's dope, man. All right, so Shannon, I like to give our guests the final word, whether that be a quote that you like to live by, a piece of advice that was either given to you on set or throughout life, or words of encouragement. You could say one of the three, or you could say all three. It's up to
Ooh,
you.
ooh, it's tough. Um, people ask me for advice, and I'm not really good at it. I'm
Mhm.
not really good at giving advice because I just do things, and that's become a motto that I use. Like I just do things. It's really that simple to me. It's just do it. Um, I think that for me, that's translated in every way. Um, do it scared, do it nervous, do it just do the thing. You
Mhm.
know. So I coach people sometimes in auditions and on set, and it's the fuck it button. I just do things. Hit the button, just do it. Right? I don't know how else to live or to operate.
Yeah.
So yeah, just do things is what I tell people all the time.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah,
Shannon, thank you so much for giving us insight into your life, your journey, your career thus far. I'm sure you have a bright, bright, bright road and path ahead of you. The sky's the limit. I'm for certain that you're going to land film roles this year.
believe
You know
it.
what I'm saying? And I know you're going to have a lot more coming in TV in the TV space as well. So I truly appreciate your time, your expertise, your knowledge, and thank you for sharing a piece of yourself with us.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for having me, and thank you for what you do, man. The Black Script is it's an important resource, man. It's a very important outlet, and its value is it's very valuable.
thank you, man.
When
Thank
I
you.
discovered it, I was like, I hadn't, I wasn't familiar, but I had always seen it pop up, and it was in my algorithm. And I was like, God damn, okay, cool. Like this is here, and it's. I, thank you for what you do. It's
No,
we
man,
need, yeah,
the honor is mine. I'm truly humbled to have people like yourself on to talk about everything that you've got going. I often look at myself as the outsider looking in, and
on
asking
the
these
inside. It's
questions.
not
Right? That's
you're,
it. People keep telling me you inside now, you in here. But I think this is cool to be able to. It gives me a chance to meet people. A lot of how you view yourself, I also view myself as well. I do things scared as well. I'm very introverted, um, and oftentimes I'll just do things. I'll push myself. I'll push
Yeah,
through. I'll run into that fire.
yeah,
Um, but it took a long time for me to get here.
100%.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight for sure.
Yeah,
And yeah, I relate to you on so many different levels, and I really enjoyed this conversation.
yes, sir. Yo,
Yeah,
we in it now, boy.
right,
We
right.
in it now.
Shannon Wallace, everybody.
Thank you, brother.